Hi everyone, it's Grant Abbott speaking. I've got Tony Anamourlis who'll be on very shortly. But what I want to do today is we've done several sessions like this on accountants and financial planners doing estate planning. So what I want to do today is give you how it works, give you a business model for success, and set in place some plans so that we've got a process. A number of people have been using our service. They've put in place processes and systems, and I've sort of borrowed a bit from everyone to ensure that it works really well for you. So I want to go through all of that. I'm assuming there that I'm not going to go through and actually do the wills or the moat and the castle. I'm assuming that many of you have had a look at that, and if not, there's plenty of space up on that strategy center for that as well. So let's go down to the first slide, and what I've got there is from our perspective, essentially, and if we have a look at it out and about, there's three choices, and you'll see the final choice is one it's generally not used that often, but the first one is, which many of you have done, is that you can effectively be in a position of going through and outsourcing to an estate planning lawyer or your local lawyer, expecting that they'll give you obviously referrals, which generally they don't, because the premise there is that an estate planning lawyer, or any lawyers for that matter, don't have regular clients. So they only get briefed on specific transactions, whether it's a conveyance, a workplace matter, contract here or there, or an estate plan. So generally they can't refer clients onto you unless obviously they get a conveyance and someone's got a brand new client, or they're getting a property, then that's completely different. But in the past, the problem about that is that if you refer on to a estate planning lawyer or a lawyer, effectively at the end of the day, you get nothing out of the equation. In fact, there's probably more downside out of the equation. Generally, you're expecting to get some referrals. As I said, they're very lean and mean. But what we find there is that, that it takes a long time for the lawyers to get up and involved. And, Tony can tell us a lot about that in terms of the precedents they use are very old, very old fashioned. Everything has to be done. Everything has to be done, completely through LEAP or one of the other precedents. So it's a bit of a shocker. The second one that we've got there is you can use our online platform to do wills, enduring powers of attorney, SMSF wills. I know a number of you are essentially doing that. There's a number of other solutions out there. I know that ClearDocs offers an online will service. I don't think TopDocs does, but everyone has their own online service. So there's plenty around. Now, that one is important. So from a legal point of view, if you jump on and do your wills, enduring power of attorney, also SMSF wills, then essentially what's happening is all those master documents are authored by Abbott Mourly lawyers. You're simply completing the data capture, and I'm going to go through that process very shortly and talk about this. You're completing that data capture, simply filling in the form. And as a consequence of that, we've got, you'll find that in those documents, it will be part of the package is a letter to the client stating that the documents be prepared on Abbott and Mourly precedents, and the fact that you're simply doing a data capture and you're not providing a legal service, which is absolutely important. Now, so the first one is you either outsource or you simply take it on and do the wills, enduring powers of attorney, and SMSF wills on your own bat. The final one is, which we're starting to see, and Tony and I just worked out a lot better system for this, is that we have a facilitated legal service, which is offered by Abbott and Mourly. So essentially, you'll still be doing quite a lot, and I'll take you through the steps of where you're going to be doing, but you'll have meetings with the clients, prepare the documents, etc. And then essentially what will happen is then you'll flick it over to me. Once you complete the requisite documents, you can notify me via support, a support ticket. I can then pull them down from our system, make any changes, etc. And then what we do is we have a meeting with the client. So I'll be in on that meeting with the client. We'll go through their documents, and the documents might be, for example, an EPOA, a will, and also an SMSF will. So there's actually 3 documents to be completed. And it makes sense to do all of them at once because they're all really relevant to each other. So I'll have a meeting with a client. We'll take down any suggestions, particularly around if they're using testamentary trusts. In fact, we just did one just prior to this meeting. We'll make any suggestions. Then after that, it then goes back to the client for finalisation. And if need be, get involved with Tony, who can then have an execution meeting. So essentially, that's the process. I'll go through it a little bit further for you, just so that I'll go through a little bit further for you, just so that we can see exactly what the next steps are. So this is the 5-step process. I'll send these slides through for you. But the first thing you need to do is send out a Lightyear Docs email to a sample of clients, notifying them of your estate planning service operating in conjunction with Abbott Mourly lawyers. So that's step 1, because the client doesn't know that you're actually providing wills, EPOAs and SMSF wills at all. So to find that email for you, and you can just simply copy and paste. Alternatively, you can just simply contact the client directly. So I'm just going to go into Lightyear Docs. You'll see here we've got the Strategy Centre. And what I've done on the Strategy Centre, I've put up here, you can see their client email copy done for you. So this is a good one for deed and company upgrades for SMSFs, but you just want to click on that one. Now that'll open on a page, and this is a page, and I'll just go through it with you. And all you have to do, I'll talk about how to do it, but let's go through. So the headline for your client email is, we now do enduring powers of attorney, wills and SMSF wills. So the email says the following: the coronavirus is having a huge impact on society. Many of our clients are concerned for their own safety and that of their family. We are asking ourselves a whole range of questions, including what happens if one of my family get the virus? Will it spiral out of control? What about the elderly members of the family over age 60 who seem to be more susceptible? We don't have answers to these questions, but what we do, actually, I'll change that. What we do know is it is important, if not vital, to ensure, while fit, competent, and able, that you safeguard your financial affairs by giving a spouse, relative, or close associate your enduring power of attorney. This enables your EPOA to act on your behalf if you become sick, are quarantined for a long time, or become incapable of managing your own financial or health affairs. In addition, your EPOA may be given the power to take your position as trustee of a self-managed super fund if your deed allows. And this is an important one as well. Plus, for companies where you may be the sole director, you can use our special process to set up your attorney as a successor director in the event of incapacity or death. And that's a product we released last week. Now, apart from an EPOA, it's important to put in place a will or revisit your will if it's not been looked at in the last 2 years. The coronavirus shows us the change can happen quickly, and we must prepare for change. A great safeguard at this very moment is put in place an enduring power of attorney and create or update your will and that of your closest loved ones. So many young families have neither document, relying on the courts to solve these issues, yet the courts may be quarantined or closed. And for those with an SMSF, it is important to complete an SMSF will, which is a set of instructions and directions to the trustee of your fund as to how you wish your super benefits to be distributed in the event of your death. You may not be aware, but your will, I'll have to change that, but your will cannot dispose of your superannuation. It has to be a special purpose document. We prefer to use the SMSF will as the traditional binding death benefit nomination has been caught up in more than 20 legal cases. We now, again, I don't know, sorry, I'll change these. We now offer EPOAs, wills and SMSF wills that with our partnership with lawyers and specialist estate planning, Abbott Mourly provide you and your family with these important documents in these challenging times. Plus, the wills and SMSF wills that we can build for you have the unique option of limiting any distribution to your bloodline only. This protects your hard-earned family wealth. In terms of completing the documents, we've been suggesting it for clients when we do reviews, but the feedback we're getting from clients is important to do right now, which is why we are emailing you. Sorry, I'll fix up those couple of typos as soon as I finish this discussion. The process is simple and quick if you get your power of attorney and executors right. Now, the person who you nominate is your attorney, so this is a good bit of educational material for them. It can also be the executor of your will to ensure safety, certainty, security, and continuity. It may be more than one, known as joint attorneys and executors. The person or persons you choose will look after your financial, health, and super affairs in the event of an illness or anxiety, should you so choose. In addition, they will be tasked as executor with looking after your estate upon your death, managing any of your specific gifts, such as property going to one or more family members, jewelry to grandchildren, well, anything you desire. They can also limit any disposition to your estate or to your lineage, which is your direct descendants, or to bloodline only, which may include brothers and sisters in the event that a main or specific beneficiary is not alive. Important, build a line of EPOAs and executors. Abbott Mourly lawyers advise that you should provide a second-in-line attorney and executor in case, when the time comes, the person or persons you appointed cannot or may not want to take up the role you have endowed upon them. And it does not have a second successor EPOA and executor. Safety, certainty, security are paramount. If something happens, you want to make sure your family are looked after. As your advisor, we strongly recommend that together we undertake a fast and simple 3-step process to implement your EPOA, will, and SMSF. Complete the quick interview and data capture attached. Send to us as soon as possible so we can work with Abbott Mourly to draft your EPOA and will. We will get together and review the EPOA and will to ensure it's tax efficient and covers all the bases. We have an option. So this is the third one. We have an option to include a detailed legal review of all documents prepared by your data capture with lawyers from Abbott Mourly, who include 2 meetings with lawyers to ensure that your current financial and health affairs, deceased estate, and super death benefits are protected from litigation, challenge, and for bloodline only. We're very busy at the moment, but our clients' EPOAs, wills, and SMSF wills are top of our list of priorities. Please complete the data capture attached and send to us as soon as possible, and we will come back and liaise with you on costings. At this time, there's no cost to this service until your EPOA, will, and SMSF will are prepared. And of course, then we've got that data capture. And I've gone through that data capture previously before. So that gives you an idea. And it's what I've done there is provide that with you. For those of you who are on the change GPS, then effectively you can do that. You'll see the data capture is at the end of this. So this is our email copy that you'll send out to the client. You can add or subtract, but honestly, what I would suggest, if you're looking at a process, don't try and recreate the process. Just simply use this, get back the data capture from the client. So the data capture, which you'll have an attachment, can you see here, it's at the bottom. So I just download that. And then up will pop our data capture. So what we've got there is, it's all in a Word format. I won't go into it. It talks about, completion, and it's very, very self-explanatory there. So when we go there, we've got, obviously, these are all the common parties and addresses we want to do. So the name of the person, so it might be, John Smith or Sally Smith, wife, address, etc. That just, if you've been through our data capture, our interview style, it follows very much there. Your enduring power of attorney and EPOA is second one, and then your successor one, second successor. Are there any limitations, and do you want to obviously have a replacement trustee? The successor director solution, which is absolutely crucial for anyone, and particularly you must use a successor director solution if your clients have got any corporate trustees of SMSFs or trusts. So you must use that successor director solution. We talk about specific gifts in there. We talk about digital assets in there. For example, they've got cryptos, remainder of the estate and percentages. And then we go to funeral wishes, child and pet guardianship, and then life tenancy if there happens to be one. And there's plenty of explanatory discussion around that. SMSF will, we've got that there as well. That's again if they've got an SMSF. So that's your data capture. As I said before, you're going to find that in this section here, which is your email copy, wills and enduring powers of attorney with data capture, which you're going to find in this box, which is client emails, data capture, and letters of advice. And you can easily get that straight from, obviously, our strategy center up here, and that will take you through to our data client email. Just while I'm here also, we're building out the how-to videos for each document, and you'll find now that when you do a document such as, if I had a look here and tell your staff this, so we're building it out. If we have a look here, trusts, I'm going to look at a vesting of a discretionary trust. So that is, so I've got a unit trust vesting there, declaration, vesting of trust. It's always probably the last one. There we go, discretionary trust vesting. Or to start the document, I just want to show you something actually not there. So when you have a look at it for your staff, you'll see now is we've got how-to videos. So how-to videos in terms of discretionary trusts. So exactly me going through each of those. So watch out for that. There's another area in the strategy center I just wanted to show you, and I'll be putting more and more, and that's this legal, technical, and strategy questions. So when you do a search, you'll find here super contributions after death. So where you ask me questions, if I think it's of merit, I'll put it up here. So we have a deceased client passed away 16th of October 2020. The SMSF received contribution from ATO on the 2nd and 11th. The member death benefit has not been paid out. Can the SMSF accept this contribution? Now, it's going to depend on the SMSF deed and governing rules. Most deeds will actually have that membership ceases on death, so you can't accept that contribution. So then, however, the Lightyear Docs deed provides that the person who's the member's replacement trustee, which is again the absolute importance of getting that successor director or director of the corporate trustees, continue the membership of the deceased. As such, a contribution can be made on the member's behalf. If you're not using the Lightyear Docs deed, then upgrade the deed first. So that's step one in the whole process, is getting that client communication out. I think that that is absolutely crucial in that process. So when we go down from here, I see, well done, Tony's completing a lot of questions that come through. Have a chat with Tony. He's on the line there if you want to go in the chat for him. So the first one is you want to send out the Lightyear Docs email. Alternatively, just simply wait for a review and do that. I would generally see, when you see this process, it's probably best to actually choose your top 10 clients and send them out that email and then follow them up with a phone call. As I said before, attach a data capture to the email, or alternatively, if a client contacts you, then send them out the data capture. If, for example, at any time a client contacts you, it's important to talk about the will service and just say, look, I'm going to send you a data capture, please complete it, and then get that data capture back in. So you want to have a process, send out, do a communication in one way, shape or form, get the data capture into the client's hands, and then obviously get the data capture back from the client. Once you get that data capture, then you'll jump on to the Lightyear Docs site. You can see the data capture we've done really marries up perfectly with our interview on the Lightyear Docs site. Hence, again, that link between the data capture and also the documentation, such that there is no provision of a legal service. So prepare the documentation. It could be EPOA will, successor director, and SMSF will. Now, this is the solution that we're looking here is the facilitated solution with us. Alternatively, if you don't want to do the facilitated solution, then obviously from 4 and 5 down, don't apply. But as I said before, once you've completed the documents to the best of your ability, what I would suggest is you jump on support. So if I go here, you'll just simply jump on to the Lightyear Docs support. You'll see, just do the support, and then you'll simply say notifying of the completion of a moat at 9:10 a.m. So the timing is really important for your AM review. So you let us know, and then that obviously goes down into the support ticket. So we won't go into that, but essentially we've got that. So that's now gone into our support center. And then what we do from there is we then go and pick that up. The way it looks like in my back end, just to show you, so you've got a good understanding. In the back end of my system, where I can use the Word and make changes, etc., you can't, because obviously, part of a legal firm. You can see here it comes up as a code. So we don't know, and we can't go in. We can go and do searches, but if you've completed, for example, a MOTE or an LYD will, then let me know. And then what I'll do is, if you've timestamped it, I can find out what the timestamp is. I can then go in, look at that document. I'll go in and then pull it into a Word document. And then I'll be able to, once I've got that Word document, I can then go and make subsequent changes. So that's where the facilitation process starts for us. So again, let's just go back, re-emphasize the process, send out the client communication, or alternatively, if you want, get the client on a phone or a Zoom and complete the data capture, or in fact the Lightyear Docs interview directly with them if you want to save time. Then essentially what you want to do is, once you've got that data capture, go to 3, prepare the relevant documentation. Now, if it's a facilitation, again, once it's completed, jump on, say, look, Grant, it's now completed at 9:10, and then I'll be able to pick that up and I'll change the name of the document in our system. So that enables me to go and make changes. So I'll have a look at it. I'll come back. If there's any glaring errors and fundamental changes you might have done that really don't seem to work out, I'll have a quick look at it and then come back to you. Then once I come back to you really quickly, if you can then contact Tony, and then Tony will book in a meeting for myself. And then essentially what we'll do is, remember, you're the advisor in the equation. So you'll sit down and have a Zoom meeting with a client. I'll be on there. I'll have the document up and running as well. And then we'll simply go through and we'll make sure that we check each and every line of that document and offer obviously a lot of strategic suggestions. Quite often there, when we get into that session, just to be brutally honest, quite often when we get in there, we have a chat. And if we find out that there's potentially going to be a child, an ex-spouse, or someone who may make a family provisions claim, it'll be probably my suggestion is that they may well want to do a protector. So don't have to worry about the protector. I'll come and advise them in on that. And obviously there's greater charge there for you. So essentially what we'll do is we'll go through all of that. I'll take notes. And then immediately after that meeting, I'll then go and make changes to the documentation. And then that will then be sent on to you to send it on to the client for final review. Then the next step is, then to organise an execution meeting with Tony if need be. If you're happy just to go down to the local JP and execute, you'll find there's an execution letter in there either way. So that's essentially the process that I find is going to be the best. That 5-step process, keep it really simple. It's like a wheel, it works perfectly. Send out the communication, get the data capture, or call the client, do the data capture. You go in, prepare the documentation, consider any tax or other issues or investment issues if you're a planner, then notify us. I'll then come in and do that meeting. We'll finalise that documentation. That final documentation comes out under Abbott Mourly letterhead. So it's protected by legal professional privilege. It's now completely off your hands. It is now sitting in the legal firm of Abbott Mourly. We're the ones that will sign off. And then I would also suggest, because it's included as part of the fee, to get Tony to walk you through that execution process, because then you can send down the original and he'll certify it, which even makes it a lot stronger. And it's probably better that way anyway, in case it's ever contested for probate. Now, so the timing of the project, and remember, for those of you who've done work with lawyers before, this sort of stuff can take weeks, particularly if you're doing an EPOA, a will, and SMSF will, and the will may have testamentary trusts. So this is what my suggested time frame is, and I think that we'll talk about it a little bit later on. So the first one is we send out the email or data capture. I would send it out and then get one of my juniors, someone else, to follow it up with a client that they've received it, and that you must have the data capture back by day 4. In fact, I'd probably say it's best to get it back on day 3. You then prepare the documents and then send to me on day 4 or day 5. Again, a lot of this is sitting in your hands. You're the facilitator in this whole process. And then by day 7, we can have a meeting with myself. And then by day 9, in fact, I'll probably be day 7 or day 8, I'll send you the documents. The documents will be finalised, and then you can have execution with Tony if necessary. So we can keep you to that really worst case 10-day time frame. The time that will be caught up for you is obviously getting the client to do the data capture and then potentially the review. So I'll leave that in your hands, but that is achievable. In fact, I've seen it done in half that time. In fact, I've seen it done in a day, believe it or not, and that's a comprehensive one. So again, that's up to you. That will give you an idea of the sort of timeframes. In terms of your timing, you know, if you have a look at the hours you're going to be spending doing the email, following up the client with a phone call, so that's probably going to be, you know, what, a maximum an hour, probably 30 minutes. Once you get the data capture, putting that into the documents, I'd strongly suggest that you insert it rather than get one of your juniors, because what you're doing is looking at how the documents are prepared from that data capture, particularly when I come in and make changes. So again, there's probably, you know, maximum amount of an hour there, absolute maximum. Meeting with me will be half an hour, 45 minutes, another half hour there, and then another half hour with Tony. So all up, you're looking probably around about 4 hours maximum on your side of the equation, and it's going to be around about 2.5 to 3 hours of ours. So it's really an equal split. Now, when we come round to it, this is what we suggest your fees, and they're roundabout. I would strongly suggest that you go to your local lawyers and find out what the fees are for each of these, and so you can use these fees. Now, we've got 2. So the little one here, it shouldn't be timing, it should be advisor fees. So unlike that third option, where effectively, and this is pretty important, so unlike the third option, the first option, where you outsource the entire estate planning service, there's 2 things about that. One is you make no money out of it. Also, it's no good for us as Abbott Mourly. We like to get a semi-finished product and finish it, take it over the line. And that really means it's incumbent upon you. You know the clients really well. You know, we can lean on you for your knowledge with the clients, and it makes the job so much easier. So it's a true partnership, as you can see by that third element there. So when we come down here and we do our pricing, one of the ones there we've been extremely cognizant of is for Abbott Mourly, that our fees should be kept at something that's reasonable for us for the time that is put in for the client, but at the same time is going to be useful for you. So if we have a look at the various client actions, you could have a simple will. If I have a look at that, then I'd be charging, you know, you can see lawyers are charging anywhere between $400 to $700 for a simple will. Now, you can do that on the site quite easily. You don't need to have Abbott Mourly sign off there. You know, it's just simply going to be 100% to the spouse. If the spouse is not alive, to be split proportionally to the children. So go ahead and do that. I mean, you don't need our sign off on that. Now, if you go down and there's a will with a testamentary trust, for example, they've got young children, they've got a disabled child, they've also been in a position, for example, where they've been married before. So they probably need something a little bit more complex. Once that happens, then your fee obviously goes up because you're going to have a lot more detail inside that will compared to the simple will. So our recommended price for you is $1,300 per person. Now, this is where AM gets in. At that instance, it's going to be a $495 flat fee. So it's a $495 flat fee. And that includes review from our side of the equation, and also then with Tony's meeting and also my meeting as well. So I think that's extremely good value. Again, it's per person. If there's a couple there, then obviously it's not going to be 2 lots of $495. We'll do it $495, then the second one $395. But again, we have to produce the right amount of documents, and each client is actually our client of Abbott Mourly. But again, if you have a look at it there, if you've got a husband and wife, you're doing wills and testamentary trusts, you can charge $2,600, and then will be $895. So that's still in the ballpark of what most lawyers charge for testamentary trusts, of around about $1,800. Now, here's the kicker: is what we suggest there is that you bundle up when you send it to us for our review, because you don't want to go and do a whole lot of reviews. Do the will with testamentary trust, the EPOA, and the SMSF will. You may as well do the successor directors as well. So all of those, you send it to us for review, and it's still $495. Does that make sense? So even though I've said here, for example, if you do an EPOA, you want Tony to sign off because it's required in New South Wales, then the cost is $150, which honestly is super, super cheap compared to anyone else. And then obviously that won't be, if you're tying the EPOA in the will with a testamentary trust, the SMSF will in there, then effectively it's just a flat $495 per person, which leaves a huge amount of profit in there for your perspective, which is essentially what we're there. We're there to help you make revenue out of that process. So really, if you're right on top of things, you go back to this client action. In the data capture, you've got EPOA, you've got your will, and also your SMSF will. From that, then you build those 3 documents, and generally you'd build those documents on the moat, because they have those 3 documents in a moat. It's very simple, very quick to do in a common party. There's plenty of information or videos up on the side around that, so that when we come down to it, you'll then charge your fee. So if we're doing a will with a testamentary trust, EPOA, SMSF will, then it's going to come in around about just over $2,300 per person. Successor directors, $400 per company is what we would suggest. So you can tell your clients, okay, well, this is what it's going to cost for a couple, and let them make a choice. And then obviously you can give a discount if there's a couple there. Don't worry about the protector. Once I do the meeting, there's a good chance that I'll do the upsell of the protector. So again, we don't need our sign off. So I'll actually be increasing the value there for your perspective. So if we go back here, what I would suggest from that perspective is that you want to set a target. Now is absolutely prime time to be doing these comprehensive estate plans. It's coming up to Christmas. It's the end of COVID. Everyone's thinking about their family. You can see that now, all the people in Melbourne, if they've got family up here in Queensland, the same with Sydney, they're really desperate to get in touch with the family. So absolutely perfect time. You couldn't pick a better time to launch an estate planning service. So I would set a budget from here and next year is to do 5 estate plans a month, or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. That means that if you have a look at your client base, it's essentially going to be around about 50 to 60 next year, which you've easily got the capacity to do. But when you have a look at it, that potentially, if you've got a few protectors there, etc., that's potentially, if you're doing probably around about 50 or 60, that's around about $250,000 to $300,000 revenue fees in your pocket. For poor old Abbott Mourly, we don't make huge. So if you've done 50, we'll end up with, not a bad one, we'll end up with, $25,000, $26,000, but nowhere near the value that you're getting out of there. So I hope you really appreciate this facilitated service, the offering that we're giving you. And again, there's only so many people we want to work with. So that's why those people on here really take it and run with it as possible. So again, set your plan. This is what you want to do. I know a few people in there, for example, Troy, I know you're really keen on this. Just set in the process, the plan, everything is done. I'll get on, I'll have a chat with your clients. Let's just start to get that system moving like a wheel. So the first step is, in fact, we worked with an advisor the other day, an accountant the other day, who's sending out 20 of those emails to their clients, following them up with a letter, and then obviously going through the data capture with them. So once you get that, everything else works out pretty well. Set a fee. It's going to be indicative. So with the fee, obviously leave out the protector. And if you think there's an issue around the protector, you get me in on it, and then we'll do that upsell. Contact Tony to set up a file for us and a Zoom meeting as well. And then what we're going to do from that is we then execute and finalize. What I would do, 6 and 7 are really important. And you've seen I'll put that in the email as well. And again, I promise I'll go and fix up that email. But if you're going to do mum and dad, then you should be doing all the children as well. Absolutely, for the EPOA. Give them a family discount. But again, go through that process. If you're going to have me on one meeting, again, it makes sense to have do as much as I can in that meeting. Then once it's completed, get a testimonial from them, because again, this is the Abbott Mourly, your firm wills and estate planning service. As I said, all the documents are going to be out on Abbott Mourly letterhead. So from a PI perspective, it's on our side of the equation. Importantly, you've just simply given Abbott Mourly the documentation, any information around capital gains tax or other taxes, and then obviously get referrals from the client. Have you got anything to add there, Tony?
I'm here. Hi, everyone. No, not at all. It's just, we just want to streamline the process as much as we can at the end of the day, make it easy for the advisor, for the client, for us, I guess. So it's a great process. So I'm very much looking forward to it now. So
I think definitely from your perspective, you're going to come across some clients who will just want to do a simple will. And that's generally going to be the case maybe if they've done a protector. But your value is going to be in that the will with testamentary trust, EPOA, SMSF will successor directors as an advisor. So you want to start, getting out and about on that one as well. And look, if the local lawyers, that they throw up their arms, get them to have a chat with Tony or myself. So again, this process is a facilitated process through Abbott Mourly. Just follow those 5 steps, and again, as Tony said, it's a very smooth process.
Sorry, mate. And also we've done heaps of these with some other advisors, and they really enjoyed the journey with me, because everything's up on the screen. I mean, I explain the document, we go through the document, and then we just sign off on it if everybody's happy. So it's and it only takes the execution process only takes under an hour basically. So it's not.
I think it's pretty important because that's where the sign off is. The first meeting will obviously be with me because I've got intimate detail around exactly how the documents. Well, I constructed all the documents, so I know exactly how to do it, and I can pull it in and really make changes quickly in the Word document. So I do that technical, the strategy side, the drafting side, which you can only do for a legal service, and then Tony will do the sign-off and execution. So again, part of that $495 includes both of those meetings, the review service, which if you take into account, it's probably about 3 hours. So we're probably jipping ourselves a bit there, but notwithstanding that, our preference is to make sure that you guys make monies out of it and we get that system going well. We're very lean and boutique. But again, we've set these fees at this present point in time. Next year, if we get a huge demand, it may go up. But it's definitely for you guys who are on this and start to use our service, we can block that pricing out for at least 18 months or so. But look, if you're interested, have a chat with Tony. You can get Tony. What's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, you can either contact me on my mobile, which is 0439 983 720. That's, my preference. Or just email me. Or if you go to my email, for those of you that have got my email panel signature, just click on that. It'll take you directly to my calendar. and then you can book in a time with me, whether it's
Yeah.
in the morning, in the afternoon. I'm quite, flexible during the week, so I can do after hours also, which I in fact did one yesterday at 8 p.m. So,
Yeah.
and I had the client, we executed a will, so it was great. It was nice and quiet.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, thanks for that. If there's no other questions, I'll get this recording up with the slides and we'll move on. And thanks for your brilliant comments there, Mr. Tony. But look, we've got the process and system. We've been talking about how to use the documents. There's plenty of information there in the strategy center. The emails in there for you. The data captures in there for you. The only thing that's stopping you at the moment is essentially you, because we've covered that legal side. So there should be nothing that is stopping you. If there's anything else we can do to make the process a lot easier, just simply give us a call. Now, Grant Abbott, Tony, sorry.
Just to add something also, which I forgot, is that I've done the analytics, with other service providers, and I can tell you one thing, not because it's grand system, it is one of the best systems we've got right now, with what we're producing.
Absolutely.
So it is fantastic, I'm telling you,
Which is why
I've done the analysis on it. So there's nothing to this system with Lightyear. So it's easy to use. Once you get to use it, you do it a few times and it'll come automatically to you guys after that.
Perfect. And the good thing about it is you don't need to be licensed to do it, which is even better.
That's right.
So and also, and financial planners, you don't need to do an SOA or anything. We do all that in the Abbott Mourly.
And also, what I want also just to add is that if any advisors want a specific topic that you want to discuss, like around tax or probate issues or whatever it is, we can sort of do it also by webinar. So if there's a specific tax issue in relation, let's say, to GST or property development, and what are the tax implications out of that, just let us know, so that way we can produce a webinar on it for your because it's accredited, isn't it, Grant?
Yeah, definitely.
CPD.
So you get the CPD or CPD.
So you get the CPD up. Yeah. And it refreshes my mind too.
Good. I know. We all need a mind refresher now, Len.
That's it.
Anyway, tomorrow we've got Michael Jeffries, who's doing PPSR, and also, believe it or not, he's doing employee share plans. So that's at 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time. If you haven't got that, you can just jump on the website and look at the weekly webinars. But anyways, Grant Abbott and Tony Anamourlis from Abbott Mourly Lawyers signing off.